Have you ever walked away from a conversation, a meeting, or a relationship, replaying every word, every moment of hesitation, every chance to speak up that slipped away? The sting of silence lingers, those unspoken thoughts, those ideas dismissed, those boundaries never set. Perhaps trust was given too freely, only to be met with betrayal. Perhaps kindness was extended, only to be mistaken for weakness. These are not mere misfortunes or flaws of character. They are signals to rethink what strength truly means. In a world that often rewards the loud, the bold, and the ruthless, those who prioritize harmony, compassion, and goodwill can find themselves outmaneuvered in the subtle power struggles of daily life. Niccolò Machiavelli, the 16th century Florentine diplomat and philosopher, understood these dynamics with piercing clarity. His seminal work, The Prince, is not a celebration of cruelty, but an unflinching examination of power. Written in 1513, it dissects the strategies that enable leaders, or anyone seeking influence, to navigate a world where not everyone plays fair. His insights remain strikingly relevant, offering a framework for those who feel powerless to reclaim their agency. This script explores how to avoid the traps of being too nice, protect one's values without becoming a target, and master the delicate balance of strength and strategy. Through Machiavelli's lens, the path to empowerment becomes clear. Blend the courage of a lion with the cunning of a fox, wield perception as a shield, and adapt relentlessly to the shifting tides of human interaction. Consider the sinking feeling of being overlooked in a professional setting. An idea is shared tentatively, softened with qualifiers to avoid seeming overconfident. This might not be perfect, but the room moves on. Moments later, a coworker rephrases the same idea with boldness, and the group erupts in praise. The original speaker is left wondering why their contribution was invisible, why their voice lacked weight. This is not merely a matter of presentation. It is a lesson in power dynamics. Hesitation signals vulnerability, and in competitive environments, others seize the opportunity to claim what was not fiercely defended. Or reflect on personal relationships. A friend leans heavily on emotional support, borrowing time, money, or energy without reciprocation. Boundaries are avoided to preserve peace, yet resentment festers. The giver feels drained, taken for granted, unable to assert their needs without risking conflict. Over time, this pattern erodes self-respect, reinforcing a cycle of deference. Romantic relationships offer another stark example. Love is given openly, vulnerability offered as a gift. Yet, without caution, that openness can be met with indifference, manipulation, or betrayal. The betrayed partner questions their judgment. Was trust misplaced? Was compassion a mistake? These experiences leave deep marks, teaching caution, silence, and self-doubt. The instinct to shrink, to avoid pain by dimming one's voice or ambition, takes root. This is the cost of perceived weakness, not just external losses, but an internal diminishment of self. Machiavelli observed these patterns in the courts of Renaissance Italy, where princes and advisors navigated a landscape of alliances and betrayals. He recognized that power is not solely about wealth or force, but about how one is perceived and how one responds to the motives of others. To remain powerless is to invite exploitation. To rise above it requires a shift in perspective, one that embraces both strength and strategy. Machiavelli's core insight is that conventional virtues, honesty, generosity, mercy, can become liabilities if applied without discernment. In The Prince, he writes, "A man who wishes to act entirely up to his professions of virtue soon meets with what destroys him among so much that is evil." This is not a rejection of goodness, but a warning. In a world where not everyone shares the same moral compass, unguarded virtue invites manipulation. Unrestrained generosity, for instance, fosters dependence. A colleague who always receives help may grow lazy, expecting assistance without effort. A friend who borrows money repeatedly may never repay, assuming the lender's kindness is boundless. Similarly, unflinching honesty can expose one's intentions to those who will exploit them. Sharing every thought in a negotiation hands the other party a map of one's weaknesses. Mercy, too, has limits. Sparing a rival may embolden them to strike again. Machiavelli's point is not to abandon these qualities, but to wield them selectively. He argues that those who rely solely on virtue risk being outplayed by those who are less scrupulous. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs, he writes, that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. The solution is not to become deceitful, but to cultivate an image of strength that deters exploitation. By projecting confidence and control, one can protect their kindness from being consumed by the greedy and their honesty from being twisted by the cunning. This principle applies across contexts. In a workplace, appearing overly accommodating may invite unreasonable demands from managers or colleagues. In friendships, always saying yes may attract those who take without giving. In romance, offering trust too quickly may expose one to those who manipulate emotions for their own gain. The key is balance. Remain true to one's values, but temper them with vigilance. To navigate these challenges, Machiavelli proposes a powerful metaphor: the lion and the fox. A leader, or anyone seeking influence, must embody both to thrive. Each represents a distinct form of strength, and together they create a formidable defense against exploitation. The lion symbolizes raw power and boldness. It is the force that intimidates rivals and commands respect. In human terms, the lion is the ability to assert oneself decisively. This might mean speaking with conviction in a meeting, refusing to let an idea be dismissed. It could involve setting a clear boundary with a friend. I value our connection, but I cannot continue to lend money. In a romantic context, it means standing firm against disrespect, signaling that one's dignity is non-negotiable. The lion does not hesitate to act when subtlety fails, ensuring that others know there are consequences for crossing lines. Yet strength alone is insufficient. The fox represents cunning, strategy, and foresight. It avoids traps by reading the terrain, retreats when necessary, and uses misdirection to outmaneuver opponents. The fox observes carefully, discerning others' motives before acting. In practice, this might mean noticing a coworker's tendency to take credit and strategically presenting ideas to a broader audience to ensure recognition. It could involve deflecting a friend's unreasonable request with humor rather than confrontation, preserving the relationship while protecting one's energy. In negotiations, the fox holds back key information until the moment of maximum impact. By blending these qualities, one becomes neither a bully nor a pushover. The lion ensures that boundaries are respected. The fox ensures that battles are chosen wisely. This duality allows for flexibility, boldness when stakes are high, subtlety when restraint serves better. It is the difference between reacting impulsively and responding strategically. Consider a workplace scenario. A manager consistently assigns extra tasks without acknowledgement. The lion's response might be a direct conversation. I've taken on additional responsibilities, and I need clarity on how this aligns with my role. The fox's approach might involve documenting contributions meticulously, sharing them with higher-ups at the right moment to secure recognition. Together, these tactics shift the dynamic, ensuring the employee is neither ignored nor overburdened. Machiavelli emphasizes that perception often outweighs reality in the game of power. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are, he writes. If others perceive strength, they hesitate to challenge, even if doubts linger internally. Conversely, projecting weakness invites testing, regardless of one's actual capabilities. This principle is evident in everyday interactions. In a job interview, excessive apologies or self-deprecating humor can signal insecurity, prompting the interviewer to question competence. At a social gathering, Slouched posture or averted eyes may convey discomfort, making one less likely to be approached or taken seriously. These cues, often subconscious, shape how others respond. Contrast this with the effect of deliberate confidence. Maintaining eye contact, speaking clearly, and avoiding unnecessary qualifiers, I think or maybe, project authority. These behaviors are not about arrogance, but about signaling self-assurance. Over time, this external projection can reshape internal reality, fostering genuine confidence. Studies in behavioral psychology, such as Amy Cuddy's work on power posing, support this. Adopting confident postures for just 2 minutes can increase testosterone levels and reduce stress, priming one for assertive action. Machiavelli's insight is practical. Half the battle of power is won through presentation. A firm handshake, a steady voice, or a well-timed pause can shift dynamics before a word is spoken. This is not about deceit, but about aligning one's outward image with one's inner worth. To those accustomed to absolute honesty, advice on deception may feel unsettling, yet he does not advocate lying for its own sake, but rather selective disclosure. A prudent man should always follow in the path trodden by great men, he writes, suggesting that success often requires calculated restraint. Revealing every intention is like playing chess with an opponent who sees every move in advance. In practical terms, this means sharing only what advances one's goals. In a salary negotiation, for instance, emphasizing achievements and market value is wise, but disclosing a competing job offer too early may weaken leverage. Waiting until the employer commits to a number allows for a strategic reveal. I've received another offer, but I'd prefer to stay if we can reach an agreement. This shifts the power dynamic without falsehood. In personal relationships, selective disclosure preserves boundaries. When a friend presses for constant availability, a direct confrontation may escalate tensions. Instead, a measured response, "I'm swamped this week, but let's plan something soon," maintains goodwill while protecting time. This is not manipulation but discretion, ensuring one's needs are respected without unnecessary conflict. This approach requires discipline. It demands awareness of others' motives and the patience to act at the right moment. Yet it empowers individuals to negotiate from strength, not deference, ensuring their voice carries weight. One of Machiavelli's most provocative claims is that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Love is desirable but fickle, subject to shifting loyalties. Fear, when managed carefully, secures compliance more reliably. A leader who is feared is less likely to be challenged. A colleague who commands respect is less likely to be undermined. However, Machiavelli warns against cruelty that breeds hatred. A prince must make himself feared in such a way that, if he does not gain love, he avoids hatred, he writes. Hatred foments rebellion, sabotage, or betrayal. A manager who berates employees may extract short-term results, but lose talent to disengagement or turnover. A partner who demands obedience erodes trust, inviting resentment. A friend who manipulates through guilt risks alienation. The goal is respect, a balance of formidable competence and restrained goodwill. Respect is earned through consistency, enforcing boundaries calmly, rewarding cooperation, and demonstrating fairness. A single, well-placed word, "I expected better," can carry more weight than a tirade. Silence, too, can be powerful when it follows a breach of trust, provided it stems from principle, not pettiness. In practice, this balance might look like a manager who sets clear expectations, but praises good work publicly. It could be a friend who declines an unreasonable request, but offers an alternative. "I can't help with that, but let's tackle this together another way." It is the ability to say no without malice, ensuring others know where the line is drawn while preserving mutual dignity. Machiavelli's most enduring lesson is the necessity of adaptability. The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, he writes, recognizing that rigidity courts ruin. Circumstances shift, alliances falter, opportunities vanish, strategies fail. Those who cling to a single approach, whether unrelenting kindness or unyielding aggression, risk obsolescence. Adaptability is not fickleness, but pragmatism. It means anchoring oneself to core interests, values, goals, dignity, while remaining flexible in methods. If a direct approach fails, a collaborative tone may succeed. If kindness invites exploitation, firmer boundaries are warranted. If a project stalls, redirecting energy to a new avenue preserves momentum. Consider a stalled career. Repeatedly applying for promotions without success may signal the need for a new strategy. Seeking mentorship, building a broader network, or acquiring new skills. In relationships, a partner's disengagement might prompt a shift from confrontation to curiosity. What's changed for you, rather than, why are you doing this? Adaptability requires humility, the willingness to abandon what no longer works, but it is the ultimate form of strength, grounded in realism rather than wishful thinking. Machiavelli's own life exemplifies this. Exiled from Florence after a political shift, he turned to writing, transforming personal loss into intellectual legacy. His ability to pivot from diplomat to philosopher underscores the power of resilience through adaptation. Power is not about constant aggression. Instead, praise restraint, noting that excessive force breeds resentment. Princes should delegate unpopular tasks to others, but keep favors in their own hands, he advises, emphasizing the value of selective engagement. Overwhelming every obstacle with force may secure compliance, but sows seeds of rebellion. Instead, reserve strength for moments of true crisis, when values, dignity, or core interests are at stake. In daily interactions, show only enough assertiveness to be taken seriously. Minor concessions in low-stakes areas build goodwill without sacrificing leverage. A manager might allow flexibility on deadlines to foster loyalty, ensuring support when enforcing critical policies. A friend might overlook a small slight, but address a pattern of disrespect directly. This approach mirrors military strategy. Conserve resources for decisive battles, not skirmishes. By choosing battles wisely, one maintains alliances and preserves energy for what truly matters. When others see reasonableness, they are more likely to align when stakes are high. Machiavelli's teachings are not about abandoning compassion or integrity, but about protecting them. Kindness, trust, and honesty are strengths, but they require a shield. By blending the lion's courage with the fox's cunning, leveraging perception, and adapting to circumstances, one can navigate life's power dynamics without losing oneself. To apply this in real life, identify a context where powerlessness persists. In a workplace, practice speaking with authority. Eliminate qualifiers, maintain eye contact, and present ideas with conviction. In relationships, set one clear boundary and enforce it calmly. I'm here for you, but I need reciprocity. In personal growth, adopt a small habit of confidence. Stand taller, pause before responding, project certainty. These actions, though small, compound over time, reshaping how others perceive and treat you. Machiavelli's genius lies in his realism. He understood that power is not a gift, but a skill, honed through observation, strategy, and resilience. To feel powerless is human. To remain so is a choice. By embracing the lion and the fox, mastering perception, and adapting to the world's complexities, anyone can transform vulnerability into strength. The journey begins with a single step, recognizing one's own worth and refusing to be diminished.